Okay, 2058, good luck. So we've not played before, no head-to-head score there. Opponent 3,000 games of Rapid, and I'm just around on 900-ish. Just slightly over now. Okay, let's switch this one to a d4. We could still do the normal setup. Yeah, opponent's done that. It's how I normally go for the setup, and it just castle. So we both got a playable position. We just need to complete our piece development. Now, how do we do this? I'm going to play rook across first, preparing e4 this time, just for a bit of variety. Normally I would do c4 or c3 or b3. Yeah, so he stops that initial idea. Maybe we can jump across. We hit the bishop, we hit the pawn, so you might have to go back here. If we get a double attack, so I expect the bishop might go back up. Queen across, we just take the bishop. That might just give us a development move. He's come forward, so he's allowing us to take, and that's an exchange, right? But I've actually done this in the past, where I've won the rook from my bishop, and then I've lost the game, because it's dangerous to give up your bishop when your opponent's got theirs. But I think I'm going to gamble for it. But I've done it in the past against a strong opponent like this, where I've won an exchange, and then I've still gone and blundered the game away. But I'm going to go for it. So I need this knight back somewhere useful. So do I go here? Do I go here? Because the knight can drop back, right? You've got to be very careful about allowing this bishop down, but right now it's not a mate threat. But I think I'm going to go here to bring the other knight back this way. Try and prepare e4, d5, something like that. Yeah, so he's kicked me back. Now let's come back here and hit the pawn. Now just got to be careful. Bishop down, take the pawn and lose the king. That's not a very good trade. That's exactly what he's played for. So I'm going to play c4, trying to push on here. So I can jump back now and I guard this mate threat. I don't see any good playable moves. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to just close this dial down, but I've done this before, like I say, and lost the game. It's really risky giving up your light squared bishop when your opponent's got theirs, when you're being ketoed like this. Really, really dangerous thing to do. So right now I'm trying to just restrict the queen, then somehow get rid of that bishop. How I do that, I don't actually know. How we get rid of the bishop, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I do something like this, if I'm in a position to do it. I need a knight here, don't I? So how do I do it otherwise? Here is no good. I need 4 moves from here to go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not easy to do. I mean, might have to play a move like f3. Ooh. Gamble, 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 isn't it? It's all a gamble. So here he comes down. Yeah, he's got bishop here and here. That's a problem. I've got to try and close this immediate threat down in case the knight's under an attack. So I'm trying to play d5. But it's still a problem here and here. I mean, maybe I can drop back and try and come round, but it's dangerous, dangerous. Or maybe here and here to guard. Like I say, I've done this before and I lost it. The bishop down now. I'm hoping I can move my knight, but if I move my knight, actually I lose my pawn, don't I? So he's played knight out wide. So what's the idea? To launch one. He hits this pawn, actually, doesn't he? He hits the pawn. So I've got knight back to come here. Knight across. Knight back's a bit restrictive, though. But do I just push up? That lets him in. No, I think I'm going to go this way. Try and guard the pawn, develop my bishop somewhere. He's got bishop here to hit my knight. Right now I can drop back. Oh, this whole position just collapses. Yeah, he's launched one, so do I have to go here? Again, I can take this move because it's covered, but only this move. I think I have to push down. I've got to risk this. It lets his knight in as well. It's unbelievably dangerous position. One of them moves where you play it and you think, why did I do that? Why was that a good idea? Has he given me a chance to take here, though? With queen coming up. Knight in now. He can check, but it's covered because the knight's here. That's what he's gone for. So I think I've got queen up now. Queen down, a take. I've got I don't have bishop up. I can chuck the pawn first. I can bishop up here. Check, knight takes, anything takes should be alright. Queen up, down, I grab a pawn and it restricts a diagonal. But my rook's then not guarded. So I think I need to do out the bishop first, try and blockade this pawn. I might be wrong. He might play knight in and want this. He might play bishop up to hit the knight back and just get his exchange back. Bishop up is probably the right move to play, and if I drop back he can check and get his exchange back, and it's a bit of a mess, isn't it? It's a bit of a mess. It's probably a poisoned rook, this. I'll have to look at this opening a bit more carefully. It's probably a poisoned rook. I mean, has he got anything even stronger? Oh, he's just grabbed a pawn. He's just gone for the pawn. That wasn't even on the radar. That was my king's safety I'm thinking of. So can I just go forward here? Kick the rook. I know there's another pawn loose. I can't go here now, which I missed. Bishop up. Not quite. I've gone really wrong here, haven't I? So I'm looking at here. Allow this, and then he's got this. What the heck have I done here? Rook over here. Maybe up. No, this has gone very wrong, hasn't it? Very wrong. Let's just get the queen out of the way from move. I know he can still take, I couldn't stop it. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my pieces. And not burn my entire time, but even just this and this now, and it's a good position for black, it feels like it. Even if I get rid of the bishop, there's still a pawn there, so it's not necessarily great, but something like this. Knight takes, and he's still got here as well. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what I'm facing. So I'm going to try and give the exchange back and grab a pawn and create a threat. Knight in, take, knight takes, take, and hope I'm surviving with a counter punch. So I do have a pawn here as well, but I don't see how to use it right now. So he's cut that off. And here, he's fine. So is there any spectacular move? I don't see it. I do not see it. He's just going to march down the board. What about knight back then? Round. Knight's no good where it is. Let's try and redeploy the knight. I can't stop this, so I just won't worry about it. Try and redeploy the knight. Knight f4, trade. That feels alright. It doesn't mean it is, but it feels it. But I can't worry about that. So knight up now. As long as I don't move my bishop to allow this, I think it... Oh, I want to take back with the bishop, so it does allow that. Oops. Okay, let's shuffle a rook then and see if he takes. I expect he will. But it takes some pressure off if we shift the knight, and we're threatening to push. If he comes down, maybe knight across. He has taken, so... Can we take with the queen here? Or even the knight? No, that's wrong, isn't it? But I want to leave the rook here to pressure the pawn. I mean, maybe he can still come, but there is another loose pawn. But yeah, I was originally looking at knight up. If you take, we take back. But you've got a pawn push creating that mate threat, and it's really dangerous, isn't it? Yeah, maybe I should have left the knight there. But that's the move I was bothered about. Bishop down. I think it was a poisoned rook. Didn't learn my lesson the last time I played this. It was a good while ago, to be fair, quite a few months ago. So I couldn't remember exactly how I played it. So again, takes. It just releases this, doesn't it? Knight back pressures the pawn. Knight across feels it's too wide. What the heck have I done here? It's like I'm completely in zugzwang, no moves. I'm even looking at queen up, some sort of weird move just to get a square. I don't think it's anything. Knight back, I think pawn down, and I'm in a load of bother. I don't see it's a useful move. I'll just go forward, threatening to come round. But down now, if I take, he's still got this pawn push. Maybe I get out the way, but it just, no, it's got to be losing that, hasn't it? It's got to be losing that. Maybe you can just simply march the pawns down the board. Could be just completely busted here. And I don't see a way to get that real counter threat. You don't want to have to defend with queen to f1. I mean, that's horrible, isn't it? That's a horrible move. So I think this game is the curse of the poisoned pawn. The poisoned rook. The poisoned rook, normally a poisoned pawn, the poisoned rook. Okay, all I'm trying to do here is knight back. Pawn down obviously deals with that. If I take here, the diagonal is closed for a move, but only a move. And maybe he can just push on. Oh, he's allowed me to come back now. I wonder if he missed my concept. That's what I'm trying to stop. I wonder if he missed that. I'm threatening to actually take the bishop now and then plant this bishop here to close the file. That's what I'm trying to do, is keep this diagonal closed. Maybe the knight can go back here. If that bishop comes off, the knight can quite happily sit here and it guards the square. But when I'm here, the bishop on f6 is a serious threat, and he has given up the bishop. So take, rook takes, down, and I've got knight takes, and I cover the square. So take, rook takes, pawn down. Got to take with a knight, or it's checkmate. But if I do take with a knight, it's surviving. But I don't have to take this move. I can grab this pawn, actually, can't I? Hit the rook, and then I hit this pawn as well. If he takes, I take back. It's actually preferable. Let's take and hit the rook, because I hit this pawn as well, threatening to take, and then take with a queen. If I can just get the queens off the board, it takes a lot of pressure off. There's still a back rank issue, but a lot of pressure off. And we're both down to 4 minutes now, so a lot of time has gone. We hit the rook. Actually, we're threatening to just push and queen. So we're just 2 moves off giving up a knight and a pawn for rook that way, maybe, but obviously this diagonal is the threat. That's the real threat. Yeah, so he's gone across. So if I push now, he takes a queen, but he just takes back. So that's no good. But now if I take, if he takes the knight, I can drop back. So take the bishop. Say he takes with a pawn. I've got queen takes. Takes a knight, I take the queen. Take the queen, I take back. So I think takes, and queen takes looks good. So I'm going to do it. Are we unwinding? Are we unwinding the position? If he takes the knight, I can drop back. Okay, I'll lose the pawn, but I've blockaded the diagonal. I can activate my queen then. Or maybe I can just take this pawn. That's what he's gone for. Now, I assume I drop back to blockade the diagonal here. If I take, he pushes on. I can take with a knight, but he takes and he's threatening to take the knight. So it's got to be right to drop back. If he takes, so I'm getting my queen active potentially. Getting my queen and my rook active. And he has. So let's get the queen up, threaten to pin the rook. But I've still got to watch out for back rank threats as well, something like this. Knight up now, takes, and there's still the threat, and I won't be able to cover the square. So knight up you'd love to play, but it's not a move right now. Bishop up might be a move. Knight takes. But even if I take the bishop, the pawn takes and keeps the threat. So it's all about, can I get my pieces active now? But I'm only working with a queen and a rook. These two are just completely defending. Maybe the knight to e1 can get it out the way. Maybe my knight to e1 gets the knight out the way and I still cover g2. But I've still got that back rank issue if my queen and rook get forward. But I'm looking at queen. I'm not really bothered about the pawn. It'd be nice to get rid of these pawns, but it's the queen that I really need off the board. Yeah, he's gone across. But now, okay, I can play a rook up, but the mate threat is covered, but it's at least a counter threat. The pawn is what we really need. So do I gamble here? Allow him to push. feels a bit much. Again, if I take and he pushes now, though, I can check and come back, but it opens the diagonal for his queen. So what about queen back, threatening a check and the queen's off? And I'm going to cover this, aren't I? I like that, actually. I threaten a check to get the queen off the board. So he pushes. Check takes, check, take back with a check. He's seen it, so he's gone back. But now I can check and get the queen off. That's got to be the right thing to do, because I've got the bishop covering c1 when he's pushing his pawn. So I just have to be able to get back behind his pawn and hope for the best now. Knight back and rook back. So he's come forward. So I can throw in a check. But it's got to be right to defend, hasn't it? Oh no, I'll just take the pawn. He's on his pawn. I can actually take it. It's still a tricky position. It's 4 pawns each now, but if the rooks come off, there's no mate threat then. Well, there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a mate threat against me. It's just whether I can get my king into the game. But that's not actually easy. Yeah, he's kept it on. He's kept it on. So check, I don't see any point. I've got to drop back, don't I? I'm guarded now. Can I keep this pawn? Can I get my knight finally active somehow? But then my king can never get out of the box unless I push the pawn. If the knight gets in, then it's still a potential mate threat. So maybe knight up and just whip the bishop. Okay, he's gone there. So I'm going to come forward now and maybe whip the bishop. The bishop's not doing anything, but it's creating a mating box that I can't get out of. But I'm well up on the clock now. I've got that bit of time. He needs 3 moves to get his knight here. Then I'm stuck in the corner. But if he can't get his rook in, it's survivable, I hope. I hope. So take here. F3. Take king up. I think that gets me out. I think it does. Now I'm getting out. He can come here and win a pawn, but it gets my king out. I can't block, so I take. Now I can check and collect and create my own threat, but it's dangerous, isn't it? Actually, can I do that? Once he moves, say he moves anywhere around here, the pawn's loose. Once he comes here, I can't get back, can I actually? I have to come back and try and get behind the pawn. So here, knight either way, I take, he takes here, and I come back, I think, but I think I'm actually losing then. So I'm going to try and go here. I've got to try and take with the bishop, not the rook. Oof, it's tense, isn't it? It's tense. Oh, that allows me to maybe develop and hit 2. He's got a check, I'd seen that. So here, check. Here, check, block, but I'll lose my pawn. Very tense. 20 seconds. So rook across and we hit the pawn. He's got a move though. No, I've got to stay there, don't I? I'm trying to stop his king getting to my pawn and I don't see how. I'm going to have to come across. So back has got to be a mistake, right? Rook back. Okay, that's the mistake. That might be the losing mistake, I hope. Oh, blimey, that was tight, wasn't it? That was tight. It was a poisoned rook, wasn't it? A poisoned rook. Like I said, I took it before in a game I played similar to this and I lost that one. Thought I was going to lose that one as well. Maybe I should have done. Let's find out. Let's find out. That was some game. Probably a poisoned rook. Let's just see. I mean, it might not be an engine speak. That's what we're going to try and find out. But obviously, we don't play an engine speak. So it's completely flatline level at the end, yeah, but we are completely busted on. We were better at the opening. It wasn't a poisoned rook. It was fine, but we've blundered here. And we're +5, and we've just blundered it all away. And then we've gone to -5, basically, twice. Then it's come back. So that's really up and down. 81% versus 82% on the accuracy. Lots and lots of blunders. So, yeah, in engine speak, it's fine to take them. Let's just see. Yes, I should have played in over here. So the engine doesn't mind you taking this, +2.2. I've just then been going a little bit wrong here trying to deal with this. I should have played e4 immediately instead of c4. I was trying to do c4, d5, of course. But we're still alright for a number of moves. Move 20 we're alright until, and then we've gone horribly wrong. And I had queen d5 here. I was looking at that, wasn't I? But I thought, what happens if he pushes here and I take? And everything just flies open, but it must have been alright. That's a move I was looking at. But this is still alright, and this is move 20 now. This is where I've gone wrong. I should have played the bishop up. I should have played bishop up there to hit the 2 pieces, and again, not worried about the pawn push, because right now the knight covers it. That's the key move. I missed bishop to d4. Bishop to d4 is the key move that I missed. And then it's gone really difficult. Yeah, and I should have taken back with the knight, put the knight on e1. I looked at that later in the game, didn't I? So that was a blunder. Taking the pawn and the bishop are alright, but here I should have dropped back over instead of blockading the pawn, which is what I was trying to do all them moves. So that's another blunder, and I should have just thrown a check in and maybe collected the pawn. I didn't even look at that. I was just trying to get the queen off the board. I could just check, take the pawn, and that gets rid of all the pressure, doesn't it? And that was my last time that I was actually better for the game. That's the last time. Better just check, collect the pawn, and it takes a lot of the pressure off, and you can hopefully unwind the position. And now you can see we're basically level. We get much, much worse a lot, and then we get lucky. Oh, so I should have taken the pawn with the bishop instead of trying to go with the rook. And I was trying to obviously get ready to push my pawn, but then I realized I couldn't deal with this. So that's why I came back and... It's all going wrong here, isn't it? All going wrong. But there's one key move at move 53. Or 54 here. Yeah, again, I looked at coming back here. I didn't want to lose my pawn, but I looked at that move. And that's a losing blunder. And you've got rook down, threatening checkmate. Ooh. So if you see rook to c1, if I don't trade the rook, if I do, you've got your own pawn here. But if I don't trade the rook, rook across is a checkmate threat. The king can't run anywhere. That's the one move my opponent missed, otherwise it's just level. And it was just then down to the clock. Just down to the clock. Obviously in the end there, I should have just taken a pawn. I was aware of the clock. Should have taken the pawn with check and then just ran away. So it's one of them games, isn't it? Just one of them games.